It's time to create an unforgettable experience at your next event with the Poet Life by booking a Keynote Poet. Poets excite your audience with motivating messages, charismatic delivery, colorful rhythm, powerful prose, and heart-filled stories with a style of spoken word that's tailored specifically to your event. The Poet Life has Keynote Poets in your city of all ages and backgrounds.
Visit thepoetlife.com to learn more and book your poet today.
Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find a way, find a way. Ain't got no time now. You in the way.
Hey, it's Christoph Wrights of the Poet Life Podcast, and I am excited to be back. It's been about 2 months, took a 2-month break. Well, I wouldn't say, it was a break from the podcast, but it wasn't a break from the poetry industry. After season 3, I was planning the Poet Life Fest, and the Poet Life Fest was a success. And really excited to announce that because it was a lot of work. It was a huge risk to name a festival after your business and have the possibility of it not going well. And if it did, your name would have been on it. But I'm excited that, we took a big risk. That means there was a big reward. But we're back on the Poet Life Podcast, and I'm excited to announce that we have, for our first episode of season 4, Justin Patton. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How's it going?
Oh man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited just to be back in the virtual studio and to have you on as our first guest, man.
I'm excited to be here, man. I can talk poetry all day, man. I've been doing it, so it's nothing new right here.
For sure. Where you located, brother?
Atlanta, Georgia. By way of Chattanooga, Tennessee, but down here in Atlanta.
Okay.
And like I was telling you earlier, man, before this started, man, it's like a renaissance of spoken word artists down here, man. It's an exciting time. Okay.
So when you speak, well, first of all, let's start a little in the background. So Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee. That's where you're from. That's where you're born?
That's where I'm from originally. Yeah, Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
But we moved to Knoxville. I lived in Nashville, went to TSU for a couple of years, so kind of all around the state. But I moved down here, finished out college at Georgia State, and it's been home ever since.
Nice. Georgia State. All right, cool. Good stuff. When did you graduate?
I graduated December 2011.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a minute now.
All right. Okay, I got you. About 4 years, man. I graduated from Norfolk State University in 2006.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, man. And all right, so you stayed in Atlanta, huh?
So I stayed in Atlanta, man. It's just been, which I'm open to moving, but it's such a fun place right now, especially for creatives. I mean, you can do anything right now. Like if you want to get into like any kind of music or any kind of like performance art, they got that for you. If you want to get into movies, they filming all that, TV shows, they filming all that down there. It's just an exciting time, man.
Man, I'm coming down to Atlanta in 7 days, and I'll be staying in an Airbnb in Marietta. Is that close? Somewhere close where you are?
That's where I'm at, man. That's where I stay. That's where I put on my monthly show here in Marietta.
Nice.
So yeah, man.
When is your monthly show?
So it is September 24th. So I think it's the next weekend after you leave, but even when you're down here, it should be some stuff going on. So I'll send you that info for sure.
All right. Sweet, man. I love Atlanta, bro. I love the camaraderie, just the support of the artists there. And man, I was really thinking, I was like, man, I don't know if I can move there because, I have 3 young daughters and a wife and a whole family here, kids in school, but I could go down like once a month. You know what I'm saying?
You absolutely could.
For sure, man. But yeah, so Tennessee to Georgia, and you said Atlanta is like a renaissance. What do you mean by that?
As far as the spoken word arena, everybody is looking to everybody's kind of on the same page as far as like not only just taking it serious, but trying to take it to the next level, trying to take their spoken word business to the next level, whatever that looks like. Like you see, like I see you rocking your t-shirt, I'm rocking my t-shirt, but brothers like, okay, if we all got t-shirts, then we got to go get hats. We got to go get the whole jumpsuits. Like just people taking it serious, man, and doing things differently. Like, you know, it's a poet.com. We put on an international show. So it's just a lot of spoken word artists down here, and the community is really tight knit, and everybody's uplifting each other in a way that I haven't seen before, like on the rap scene or even comedy scene or anything else. So so it really feels like a movement to get spoken word on that mainstream level.
That's dope. That's dope, man. That's good. I was talking to my frat brother. I'm an alpha, and he was saying he's out there in Atlanta, and I was like, look, man, I'm coming down there for an entrepreneurship, you know, boot camp, and I think I want to put on an event out there. He was like, oh, okay. He was like, well, what's your purpose? And I was like, well, you know, just kind of want to bring the poet life out there and put some people on. He's like, well, that's noble, but you know, we don't necessarily need that out here, bro. I was like, oh, okay. All right. What do you mean? He was like, well, you know, that's what we do we grinding out here. I don't know what y'all got going on out there, man, but we've been doing this, you know. And so basically, you can keep your platform. You know? We building platforms out here every day, you know. So.
and we building them, man. But I probably would. He's right in that we are building it. I probably wouldn't have kicked it like that because we can always use more platforms.
Yeah. No, but I understood it. I understood it, and I can appreciate it. And I was like, that's what's up. Like they know their worth out there. You know, and I'm sure there's some levels of folks need to kind of level up, but from what I could see outside looking in, man, the connections and support of each other alone says it means a lot, you know, because that's not everywhere. That's not everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of places is every man for themselves.
Yeah, and even down here, it's like that, like in certain pockets. But for the most part, the people that are really trying to do it and really trying to do it for not only themselves, but for the community, that's what it is. Everybody sharing each other flyers, everybody coming to perform at each other's events. It's really a cool thing to be a part of, man.
That's awesome. You know, I will say this, though. We are looking to take the Poet Life Fest to the next city, and that's Atlanta.
Hey man, well, it's enough poets down here.
For sure. And I wanna, you know, when we're offline, I want to connect with you to see how we can make that happen. And pretty excited about it, man. So look, I want to talk about how we met, right? And we actually just met face to face virtually just now. But how we met should help some people. And let me share with you how we came into contact with one another. Justin DM'd me, or DM'd the Poet Life, right? And that alone will and can take you far. Just the goal and the passion and humility, and the humility to say, hey, how you doing, man? I see what you got going on. I love it. look, would you be interested in having me on your podcast? Check me out. I actually have some things going on, and that says a lot about you and others who do that, because they're not fearful and scared of, they're going to look at me crazy or they're not going to respond. Who cares? You don't know what the response will be. And I didn't respond right. I saw it. I didn't respond right away because I had to, check you out. I had to vet you.
Absolutely.
I get those DMs all the time, to be honest with you. But it doesn't look like that person has anything going on. And it's not that I'm looking for folks that have stuff going on. It is setting the standard of the platform, and not everybody just gets to come on to the platform. And that's how you set your bar, right? Not everybody gets to come on Seth Rogen. Not to say that I'm comparing myself, but you need to set your standard, and what that does is makes people work harder to get their stuff right.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, man. So I appreciate the effort that you took, and here you are, man. And I asked you, what direction are we going in? I know you got a lot going on, you're productive. So what are we talking about? And I asked you if you could teach a class within the poetry industry, right? As it relates to, your experiences and your successes and your subject matter of expertise, what would you teach? And what did you say?
And the answer was branding and knowing who you are as a poet.
Yes. So let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that. What angle are you taking as it relates to branding, right? What's your take on branding?
So my take on branding, especially, I'm going to speak specifically when it comes to spoken word poets, when it comes to spoken word artists. I think that is one of the things that I don't want to say everybody, the community lacks as a whole. Putting ourselves out there in a way where we can be seen. So for instance, like we were talking about before this started, we were talking about, it's amazing how comedians can just get on stage with a bar stool and a microphone, and they got your attention for an hour and a half. Just that one comedian just talking, telling jokes. Well, poets do the same thing. We go up there, all we got is our poems and a microphone. We deserve that same thing, but at the same time, like, who is putting out spoken word specials? Who's doing that? I don't see it.
Right.
So that kind of stuff, and just making sure that you take your business to the next level. It doesn't always have to be, look, I'm not trying to sit up here and talk like I'm Kevin Hart and I got it all figured out. Because on my journey, listen, it's day by day and I'm learning new things every day. I learned a lot from your podcast. That's why I wanted to come on here and talk about you, because I feel like I could not only learn more but contribute to that conversation. But I feel like just starting where we are with what we have. So whether that looks like just if we can get somebody to take some professional photos of us so that we can have that in our portfolio. If we can just get out and just get one professional video made to put out there on You Had a Guest Talk About LinkedIn. If we could just have somebody just talk about like, if we could just have somebody, just record us and put a video out there like that, with just one professional video, just to make ourselves stand out, just to make ourselves look like we're doing even more, even if we can get our own t-shirts made, just stuff like that. Just whatever we can do, starting where we are with what we got.
That's good. I like that. Let's speak about having your own portfolio, right? I was doing some one-on-one coaching with a poet yesterday. And I said to him, okay, cool. You do open mics, right? You don't get paid for open mics. Okay. All right. How can you benefit from an open mic? Right. And yes, you get your name out there. There are new faces at open mics all the time. Okay. That's one benefit. Right. You make sure that you go out there and give it your all at the open mics, and not get up there and play around, okay. So that's one benefit right there. But I said to him, never perform anywhere without someone recording you.
Mm.
The reason I said that is because you never want a performance to die that night. Your performance dies that night when you don't record your work, when you don't record yourself performing. It will live on if you come prepared in advance with, I don't have any with me, but a handle with the clip on your phone, right? You come to the open mic. Hey, sis, can you do me a favor? You mind recording me as I perform this piece right here? Who's gonna say no? Nobody's gonna say no. They're gonna record. They're gonna do that for you, right? So that gives you a video that you can chop up for social media. Gives you a whole week's worth of content, right? Gives you a video for your portfolio, a video for your website. If you have a website, it lives on, and so, yeah, man. So little things like that make the free performances worth it.
Absolutely. And if I could, I'd like to take that a step further by, and this is a great conversation because, matter of fact, the next episode I was going to have on my podcast was how to maximize your open mic experience. So
Nice.
you can go to all the open mics you want to. They're going to help you get better, but you don't want to stay there. You want to get stuck in the open mics, but ways you can maximize it is, like you said, recording it first and foremost. And even if you don't want to ask nobody to record for you, you can be like me. I take my own stand. I find a good place to set up my stand, put my phone on it. I ain't paid $1,200 for this iPhone for no reason. Put it to use. Making sure I'm getting video. Just walking in there, making sure you get to know who the host is, because 9 times out of 10, they are a poet themselves trying to do something or have other shows or whatever. Getting to know the host, speaking to the people who are working in the place, just so you get familiar with the place, get familiar with the atmosphere of where you're performing at. Yep. And then if you can just take one thing to sell, like I have a book, and I went and got it self-published or whatever, and but even if you don't want to go that far, like I have a friend who's not even necessarily, he probably wouldn't call himself a poet, but he performs poems and does like motivational speaking. He went and got like 3 poems published in a little chat book that he made at Office Max, and takes them to every open mic he goes to. So if you can just have something to separate yourself, just something, just one thing, even if it's like $1 wristband that you can get made, like the rubber band wristbands are the phrase that people wear. Even if you can get something like that, just one thing to distinguish yourself. Yep. People are gonna be like, oh, this person's serious. This person's more than just the average open micer. So it's just little simple things like that we can do to enhance, and one person doing that is going to enhance the whole poetry industry, like you talk about.
Yes, man. That's so good. That's so good. It's always the little things that make huge impact, because like you just said, someone in that room, that venue will say, you know what? That's smart.
Exactly.
He brought a tripod and set it up for himself, which means he did not use the excuse of, I don't have a videographer, I didn't bring my friend or my brother to record me. There's no excuse now in 2021.
It's no excuse. And I know them all because I used them all. I tried all the excuses. I tried them all. They don't hold up.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you start your monthly event?
So I started my monthly event back in May of this year.
Okay.
So we started out doing it twice a month. So May and June we did it twice a month. And then we just went to once a month just because like the pandemic's still kind of getting crazy.
Right.
So to just like kind of minimize like exposure or whatever.
Right.
And then, but also just like trying to make one really good show.
Exactly.
You know, and not overextending ourselves.
Right. Right. Yeah. I know it when you first started, oh, we could do this twice a month. And you know,
yeah.
You get in it, you get into it, you're like, you know what, I think we need to go once a month.
Exactly.
You know,
Especially if you want something that's gonna last. Because I mean here, open mics pop up, it's a new one every month.
right.
And you'll see they usually last for about 2 or 3 months and then you don't hear from them again.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. It is good to create the anticipation and the want to be there. And so it's like a relationship, you know, what is it? Distance makes the heart grow fonder, right?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
between events does the same thing. You know, I gotta get back to that open mic. What's the name of your open mic?
It's called Soul Therapy Poetry Show.
Soul Therapy Poet. Now, so you didn't call yours an open mic. Why did you call it a poetry show? What makes it a show?
And so I actually just switched it up because at first we did call it an open mic, but now we call it a showcase because it's certain things that we do because the mic is open. You can come and sign and perform up still, but we have certain parameters that that your performance has to abide by. For instance, we have a timer. We have a 5-minute timer.
Smart.
And, you know, at 4.5 minutes, you see that light. That means you got to start wrapping up your performance.
Whoa.
And we do that because we not only want people to come and perform, but we want them to get better.
Right.
That's the idea. So we're not just coming in here and spitting poems that we wrote in our bedroom last night that we think are going to sound cute. I want to create something, an incubator almost, where people can come perform and really get better and not just feel like they just came, spit a poem, everybody clapped, and then went and sat down.
Right. Right. That's someone who runs an open mic is going to use that.
I hope so.
Because
I feel like we have enough open mics. We need more people showcasing talent.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I wanted to create.
Yeah, because most hosts at open mic, you know, when it's over 5 minutes, they're like, you know, wrap it up,
right.
Rolling their fingers, you know. And
right.
So having that light and that timer, that's genius. It keeps it going, it keeps it moving, and keeps the diversity in place as well. So that's good, man. So with you said branding and also knowing yourself as a poet.
Yes.
All right. So share with me what you mean by that.
So knowing yourself as a poet kind of, to me, that opens the door for your branding because you know who you are, you know what you talk about, and with that comes knowing what doors that you want to get in. If you're an erotic, like I know some guys that only spit erotic pieces. They're not gonna go to the school system and be like, yo, I have poetry, I'm gonna come spit for y'all. You know, they're gonna go at the nightclubs or where people are gonna go where they're celebrated. Right. They're not necessarily gonna celebrate that in a 7th grade classroom.
Right.
But if you are that poet that has a lot of motivational stuff and a lot of empowering stuff, then you should probably be taking your stuff to the classrooms to uplift, our students and our middle school and high school students and things like that. And so, but but I chose that for me because that's kind of how my journey's been. My poetry started me writing for just me. But as I wanted to grow as not only an artist, but as an entrepreneur to take this poetry business to the next level, I'm like, okay, it has to be more than just like diary entries for me.
Right.
And then you kind of move on to actually from writing like personal poems to actual spoken word pieces to poems meant to be spoken. And then I feel like most black males start at you start at like how we feel as black men in America, and you start writing black power poems and everything. At least in my instance, everything was like black power this, black power that. That's what we need to be doing.
Right.
Which that was good, but that was still kind of limiting. I can't take that. I mean, I can take it everywhere,
Right.
but
Right.
if I'm gonna take it even to the next level, maybe I need to write some things more commercial. Maybe I need to change up the formula to where if I write something funny here, if I write a funny poem,
Yeah.
then if I get their attention, that's gonna reel them in. So now they're listening to my emotional poems and my empowering poems. Now I got their attention because I said something funny. So
Right.
as I've kind of continued on my journey, it's been a constant keeping a constant tab on who I am,
Right.
because that kind of sets the temperature of how I'm gonna move forward.
Right. So it sounds like you've learned how to diversify your art.
Learn and constantly learning.
For sure. You're learning how to diversify your art. And by doing that, you've opened the floodgates for more opportunities.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely. So I mean, just with that alone, performed everywhere from schools to nightclubs to strip clubs to churches.
Yeah.
Just because that was my focus. I wanted to be able to reach different types of people.
Right.
If the preacher just stayed in the church all day and he's only preaching to people coming to church, I thought we were supposed to be reaching to people that are really hurting, people that really need it. I got to step out of my pulpit, my comfort zone, and try to find different ways to reach other people. So that's kind of been the mindset.
That's good. That's good. Because the question is, do you want to be popular or do you want to be a paid poet? The reason I say that is because, some people will go to an open mic and just spit their pieces, and the others that are looking to actually do something with their art as it relates to, creating a career out of it, they'll have, like you said, a piece that uplifts, piece for Black Power, even for the love poems. We hire poets, everywhere to perform everywhere, and it's tough for us because there are some amazing poets that we cannot hire.
Mm.
One, because they're one dimensional, and for the Black Power, it's only good in February and when one of us get killed. It is what it is, and so the question is, all right, what else do you have in your portfolio? That's the question. You got to use this terminology to understand why you need to have, these diverse pieces, right? Do you have something that can speak to kids at an assembly? Do you have a piece that works with white folks? You gotta that's going to pay, and school districts that are going to pay. But then you ask why you're only getting paid $50. You see, and this is just tough love talk, you know.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
honest.
hope,
It's honest.
I hope folks are not, you know, receiving it as me talking down. I hope they're receiving it as, okay, cool. Let me write this down. All right, cool. This is what I need to do, because that's what this podcast is here for.
And that's why your platform is so important, because it's a lot of people that just don't know. Like you said, I know a lot of fire poets that go to every open mic and kill. They
Yeah,
the best. They some of the best spoken word artists you can find around.
I can't
Just
hire you.
blazing a microphone, but
Yeah,
they don't have any type of social media presence. They
thank you.
don't have. They might not even have a bio ready. If you say,
Yeah,
"Yo, let me see your bio," is your bio ready? Do you have pictures? Do you have
yeah,
something to leave us with?
yeah. And you know, and that's what my clients ask for. I need a professional photo, because we want to promote you at our event, right? We want to put you in the program. Don't send me one of these, please. Don't take a selfie and send me that.
Right,
Come
right,
on, you know. We need to learn media kit,
right.
right? The bios in the media kit. You know what you've done. Man, yeah, it's work. It's work, and it's not a. The thing is, it's not a lot of work. It is a lot of small things that you need to do, and not
Absolutely.
you literally can have somebody write your bio for you. You can tell somebody what you've done, and they write it for you if you can't write it yourself. You can go to Fiverr.com, 2 R's in Fiverr.com, and do a search on copywriter person. That's not copyright like copywriting your poetry. It is copyright as in a person writing copy. Copy is the text, the captions and things of that nature, that will attractively write what you're trying to say and who you are and all of that. And
You know, I'm gonna take that a step further and say, if you can write a fire poem, you should be able to write your bio.
I posted this on Instagram. I said, poets are more than their poems,
I seen that post.
right? And what I meant by that is a poet is someone who is great with words. So if you say that a poet is someone who is great with words, who needs someone who is great with words? A company that wants to have fire captions in their social media, they'll pay somebody. They'll pay someone who is good with words. They'll pay a poet to commercials. They'll pay someone who is good with words to write amazing commercials. Prentice Powell writes for certain companies and their commercials.
Yeah,
Scripts, and it's just
Prince.
if you reword it and you figure out who you are, like you said, knowing who you are, knowing your value, and not just saying I'm a poet and end it there, which means I just write poetry. It's so much more. It's deeper than poetry. That's what man, that's a shirt. That's a shirt.
It's so much deeper than poetry, and that resonates with me so well, because that's how, like, everything that I have going on in my life right now, like, it all came from just writing poems, and
Mhm.
everything's just manifested itself. I don't even like to use the word manifest because it's like a trend right now, but everything was born out of me just writing poetry.
Right.
And so it's amazing, man. It's
Yeah.
amazing, like, where you never thought you could take it. Like, I started out writing, and excuse me if I'm rambling, but I never,
Ooh.
like, when I sat down, I used to only write poems pretty much like when I was in my feelings, when I was going through something and I wanted to express myself.
Yep.
But even just from that, That came to writing actual spoken word pieces. That came to actually getting on stage performing these pieces. That led to performing in different states, different parts of the country. That led to learning how to becoming a host and a real MC and how to host my own show. That led to me writing blogs because I'm like, okay, if I'm writing all these poems, I have much more to say and everything doesn't fit in stanzas and lines. I got to get it out long form. So let me write these blogs. Just being creative like that came to now I'm getting into acting. It's so much. There's so much that can come from just spoken
Man,
word poetry. It's unreal.
that's another one. Poets memorize like crazy. Why are you not an actor?
Okay,
You
I got a
memorize,
quick.
you perform, you deliver all of what an actor does, not to minimize actors, but why not try your hand?
We are doing everything. Quick story, back in about 2018, I was like, okay, I'm trying to get into acting a little bit. So I went to an audition and he said something like, we're all out of scripts to give out or something. He was like, do you have your own monologue? And I'm like, I kind of don't. And he's like, oh, well, can you come back tomorrow or whatever? We'll have some more scripts for you guys. And I'm like, okay, I guess. So I walked out of the building and I'm like, hold on. I am a spoken word artist. All I do is spit monologues. I went back in there and I'm like, hell yeah, I got a monologue. So they let me spit it right quick. I didn't get the part, but the fact that I went in there and told them I didn't have a monologue, but went back, I felt like I didn't leave. I gave what I could to the universe. I didn't leave any stones unturned. I gave them the monologue that I have. So I left feeling like I didn't regret anything. I did my part. The rest is up to the universe. Either I'm gonna get it, I don't, whatever. But of course I have monologues. I'm a poet. So
God, that's huge.
it's so many interdisciplinaries that go hand in hand.
Somebody caught that, man. And somebody's like, they're like, oh man, I'm so much more than I thought I was.
So much.
That's crazy. So it clicked for you. You know, you're someone who is great. You're not only someone who is great with words, but you have great delivery. You have great poise. You're a public speaker. Why aren't more poets public speakers? Do you
That's
know how
what
much
we're doing. That's everything that we're doing.
Do you know how much public speakers make? We recently made history with a commercial that we produced and broadcasted. Is the first ever poetry commercial. Well, commercial for a poetry service. So
and I think I know what you're talking about. Is that the service where you hire poets to do the speeches for
yes,
what's it called? Not conventions, or convention speeches.
Yep, exactly. So and everybody watching, when we record these videos, it's usually like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and our minds are like halfway empty by the end of the day. Keynote Poets. That's
Keynote Poets.
Keynote Poets. So yes, Keynote Poets. And that came to me some years ago. And I was like, because I'm thinking, all right, poets are more than their poems. All right. What do people who are great with words do? They're public speakers. Okay. And I'm thinking about how to maximize their skill set to increase their income. Public speakers get paid a lot of money. Public speakers are keynote speakers, keynote poets. And I put that on the back burner because I was already doing a lot. So I've been teaching myself to put things on the back burner and write it down so you don't forget it, right? Because when you do too much, you do too much, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I said, when the opportunity presents itself, that's when I'll go. And Comcast presented a grant for broadcasting a commercial for small Black-owned businesses. And I said, okay, shoot, what can I do a commercial for? Like, they're paying for 3 months of broadcasting of a commercial for your business. So what would my commercial? Keynote Poets. They weren't paying for the production of the commercial. They were paying for the 3 months of broadcasting, which is a whole lot of money.
Yes.
Right, in and of itself. So and producing, like, I literally went to California from the DMV, produced a commercial, got a commercial produced. I'm in it, and what I wanted to show people was the height in which poets could go. And so what a keynote poet is, like you just said, it is someone who is great at public speaking, just like a public speaker, but who also infuses and incorporates spoken words seamlessly in their presentation. Man, I'm so proud of that, man. And some opportunities have come from that. I just want poets to know how valuable they are. You gotta, if you don't realize that, you're doing yourself a disservice.
And that's what you're doing, man. That's exactly what your platform is doing, man. We much more than just guys not cool enough to be rappers. It's much more than that. It's bigger than that. It's deeper than that.
Yeah, man. And we're making it cool. We're making it cool. Yeah.
Exactly.
And, it's so interesting what people say is cool. Tupac called himself a poet.
Mm-hmm.
Wale is a poet. Wale is a straight up poet.
Straight up poet.
You know what I'm saying? With the title of a rapper, but he's a poet, bro. But the time is now. The time is now, and I think we're starting to see it. With the likes of Amanda Gorman and Brandon Leak winning America's Got Talent. And I hope poets, around the country and around the world, never got jealous of anybody winning, any poet winning, or envious, because if they only understood that when another poet wins, it only shines light on you.
That lifts all of us. That lifts all of us. So the Amanda Gorman thing, like, everybody had their opinions. Is it a good poem? Did they like the poem? Did she say this? Did she say that? It doesn't matter. She's doing spoken word at the White House steps. That's all you need to know. She's performing poetry at the Super Bowl. You don't need to know nothing else. You don't need to know nothing else.
Bro. So if they understood that companies, organizations, they're like, whoa, so we can go get poets now. So, but we don't have to spend a bunch of money to get Amanda Gorman. There's a bunch of poets in our area. So if you were smart, you would have saw that and said, yo, I need to get my stuff together. I need to get my life in order. I need to get my website right. I need to get my business cards right, because people are looking for poets right now.
They are looking for poets, and poetry is as most popular as it's ever been. One of the oldest art forms, but I feel like just now it's infiltrating pop culture. So matter of fact, it's funny you bring up Brandon Lee, because I was just watching his AGT again yesterday. I was watching the video, and it was like, when he performed for the first time, it was like the judges had never heard spoken word before. And so if you go back and watch it, at first they're like, okay, we don't know what to expect. He said he was a poet. And even one of the guys, Simon, I think his name is, he's like, I don't really understand poetry. I don't know what this is. But after he got done spitting that poem, they were looking like they didn't know, like they'd seen it, like they spoken word for the first time.
Right.
And she's like, wow, it's like you were singing, but you're just talking, but your voice just carries. Like they are looking like somebody, a Martian just came down from Earth.
You know what more poets are? They're someone who's great with words, but they're also someone who evokes emotion.
Absolutely.
That's what public speakers do. That's what comedians do. That's what singers do. That's what rappers do. They evoke emotion. Take the word poet out. And who are you? I am someone who evokes emotion. I'm great with words. Man, it's a list of things that you can say.
It's a list of things.
Man, this is good.
And you can see it, man. Like, so even like on Common's last album that he put out, the very first song on there is Jessica Care Moore spitting a poem. Even I'll take it a step further. Even on Drake's latest album, his first song is Champagne Poetry. Come on, man. You can't tell me that spoken word ain't rising to the mainstream levels, man.
Yeah. And if you don't see it, you're blind or you're in denial. And I hope you take the blinders off and really start seeing the truth, man, because it has never been more possible to become a professional poet than now.
Man, it's an exciting time, and we have everything. I feel like if you have one of these, then you have everything that you need.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to stay. You may not want to stay there, but everybody talks about like what they don't have to get started. I don't have this. I don't have that. If you got one of these right here, you can have a podcast. You can be putting out videos on YouTube. Actually, matter of fact, you can be putting out videos on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the platforms. It's so much. Even just with this, you have so much right here.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have the money, even if you don't have the $1,000 to film your own show or whatever, you got a lot of what it takes to get started.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, man. That's so good. That's so good. Tell me about your podcast.
And so the Poet's Perspective podcast. So we started it during the pandemic, and how I started it was I started hosting a show at this place called Urban Grind Coffee House here in Atlanta. And I did one show. It was like one of the first shows I did on my own. This was like February 2019, before everything hit the fan. I did a show. It was okay. We had an okay turnout, whatever. And then it was supposed to be a monthly show. That next month, the next March, we had to cancel. I didn't know what was going on with the pandemic, whatever. So we canceled. And the coffee shop was like, yo, we want to cancel all our shows, but we want to maintain and presence online because we want to start selling coffee online, something we hadn't done. And we feel like virtual open mic might help drive that. And it was kind of before people were gearing up with their virtual open mics. And I'm like, okay, I'd be more than happy to host. So I started hosting open mics, and then I started having features on there where I would do an open mic for 30 minutes. And then for the next hour, that'll be a segment where I pretty much just have conversations with different poets and talk about their journey. And I'm like, okay, I'm putting it on IG, but if I'm on here, I might as well turn this into a podcast. So we started taking that audio and video, putting the video on YouTube, taking the audio, putting it across all the platforms, and turning it into a podcast.
Right.
And so that's how it got started. And we just kind of been rolling ever since.
I have nothing against Instagram and going live and talking to friends and having good conversations. But it's like, bro, why not start a podcast? Like
if I'm gonna do all this, if I'm gonna spend an hour or more on here just talking, and only people that's gonna see it is people on Instagram, I might as well take this to other platforms because people need to hear these conversations.
Right.
People need to hear the poet's journey. People need to hear the poet's life.
Yeah.
People need to see that we are more than poems.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do that. So spread it across different platforms. So like you said, if you're going to be on Instagram just talking about whatever nonsense for however long, if you feel like it's that important, put it everywhere. Make it more readily available for people.
Yeah. You know, it's about ownership, right? You don't own Instagram. You don't own Facebook. You don't own YouTube. I don't own StreamYard. However, I leverage StreamYard for my ownership of my platform, right? I'm not on a platform to where if it goes away, I can't continue. If Instagram goes away or shuts down for whatever reason, you're shut down.
Right.
You know, but the biggest piece of it is formalize what you're doing. Let's get away from mom and pop operations.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Because if you continue, you'll get paid mom and pop compensation. And you
That's how
can't,
people gonna see you.
and you can't complain about it. You know, hey, where can I check out your stuff? Where can I check out your conversations? Well, you know, I saved it. I saved the live, you know. Come on, like that, the lives should be the complement to the formalized platform.
Exactly.
I'm not doing anything astronomical right now. I just made a decision to formalize, you know, what you're doing on Instagram. And now I can do so much more with it and reach a whole lot more people.
A whole lot more people.
Right. And I now have something. That's the thing. I now have something to offer. You see,
Yes.
I now have a platform to offer, and people get paid for having platforms. So create a platform. It doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't cost anything. And that's the big thing. Like a lot of people down here, they talk about like, oh man, if I could just meet Tyler Perry or something like that. And I'm like, okay, you could run into that person. But if you run into Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, whoever you want, throw whatever name you want to throw out there, what do you have to offer that person? What do you have except for,
ask you
hey,
where's your work?
I want to be a part of what you got going on.
Yeah.
What can you offer them?
Yeah.
What is their benefit for including you? What do you have already? What have you done?
What value are you offering?
What value are you offering? And even just having something like a podcast, at least you can approach somebody you admire and be like, yo, I have a podcast. You wouldn't mind being on it. Like just having something to offer in your package.
Yeah. If you all can tell the passion from Justin and I, because we're so serious about it, you know, we want you to win. Matter of fact, I'll switch it up. We need you to win. I said this to one of my clients that I was coaching. I said, there is no industry with only 4 or 5 people winning or succeeding. Can you name 10 successful poets alive? Or will you stop at 4 or 5? So even with 10, that's not an industry.
Even with 10.
If there were only 10 successful rappers, that would not be an industry. That would not be a rap career possibility, right? So we need more and more poets to win. We need more Brandon Leaks. We need more of you, you know, doing what you do, but in a more official way.
Absolutely.
You're great at conversing on Instagram. Make it official.
Might as well.
You know?
Might as well. But I think it's also just a lot of people not only don't know, but I don't think we've seen enough examples of people that are just really getting it from spoken word. There's some people who are, but they're not necessarily like, yo, I started from spoken word. Like that's not what it is. Like I watch Hamilton. That's just 2 hours. That's just 2 hour spoken word piece to me. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I love Hamilton. I don't want to downplay it, but that was infused with just a bunch of spoken word pieces. That's what I saw in it, anyways.
Yep. And I'm so glad you said that, because that's an avenue. That's an avenue right there. If you cannot write a play, partner with a playwright. Partner with one of your colleagues that write plays, and get your Tyler Perry on. You know, he does music, random singing, but same difference, like Hamilton, a play, but out of the blue, it's a seamless transition into a spoken word piece. So many avenues to take was what we're trying to say, period. So I hope you hear our heart, and again, not think that we are talking down to you. We just really want you to get it, and we really want you to win. So reach out to The Poet Life, as you can see on here, at The Poet Life on Instagram, pretty much everywhere. Reach out to I am Justin Patton. Justin is doing a lot. He really impressed me by the fact that he just DM'd me and said, "Hey, look, man, I'm interested in being on your podcast. Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you right here on the show. I'm interested in being on your podcast, man." So as a matter of fact, myself and Backpack Jeff, we both we did a duo type thing. He has a podcast, In My Bag with Backpack Jeff, and so what we did, we both got on each other's podcasts and put them out at the same time. So cross promotion. I'm on his, he's on mine. So that was pretty dope, man. So, and that's just us doing what folks in Atlanta and other places do, lifting each other up and wanting each of us to win, man. So, if you could, well, first of all, tell us all of what you got going on so folks can follow you and check your work out, man.
Everything I got going on. So Poets Perspective podcast, streaming on all platforms. And just real quick, before I get into that, I study a lot of comedians and I watch what they do. And like we talked about, like I think it's very fascinating how they just have a microphone, but they get paid millions of dollars just to get up there and do what they do. And I feel like we can do the same thing. But I noticed that most comedians who are living off of their art and doing this at a professional level, they all have a podcast. And what do? They just come on each other's podcasts and tell stories and just cross promotion all day. So that's why I felt like it was important to be in the podcast space. And that was also one of the reasons I wanted to reach out to you, because like I said, I love what you're doing and I felt like I had something to contribute to the conversation. But everything I got going on, Poets Perspective podcast, streaming on all platforms. Put out an album this past summer, Pain to Poetry, streaming on all the platforms. Soul Therapy Poetry Show. The next one, we do it every fourth Friday in Marietta, Georgia, Good Acting Studio. September 24th is the next one. What else we got? My book, you can see there we go right there. Poetry for the Hopefully, available now. You can go to my Instagram or whatever, my website, IamJustinPatton.com. You can check that out. I have my next book coming out hopefully later this fall. We don't have a set release date, but hopefully we can get that out by the end of the year. What else? I have a short film coming out later this month. Don't have a release date for that either, but that's something to be on the lookout for. So at that time, I'll probably have a viewing party and a listening party for the album as well. Gosh, what else? Feel like I'm missing something, but that's about it right now. That's pretty much everything we got going on. And I started, and like I said, man, as far as Atlanta goes, there's a bunch of dope spoken word artists down here that I don't feel like have the promotion behind them. So another thing I started doing was producing, we call them features down here. When a poet gets like 15, 20 minutes, we call those features.
Right.
So started recording features and put them out on YouTube as spoken word specials. And so you can check out my YouTube page for that. I just produced my first one. Starry Lael is the poet, so she's got about 20 minutes that she does. Awesome poetry show, so you can check that out. But yeah, that's the next thing.
That's genius. That's good.
Hey man, like we talked about, man, and like I said, I don't want to diss comedians. I keep bringing them up, but I love comedians. That's one of the things I learned about over the pandemic. Like, man, nothing kept my spirits up like a good stand-up special. But the fact that these guys are getting these Netflix deals, these Hulu deals, Amazon Prime, whatever, just with a microphone talking for an hour. We can do the same thing. We should do the same thing. And from the look on those judges' faces at America's Got Talent, the world should be introduced to spoken word because I don't feel like on a mainstream level they have yet. So, so I just want to be like one of the pioneers in doing that.
Dope. There's a quote that I coined, and that is, become a legend in your own lane. Become a legend in your own lane, right? Whatever lane you're in, your goal is to become a legend in that lane. All right. So focus
100%.
in, niche down, and get to it, man. And listen, it's Christoph Wrights. I'm so excited to be back on the season 4, episode 1 with Justin Patton. And what we have going on is a lot. We are actually in the process of planning a major event in Nigeria. Port Harcourt, Nigeria. And really excited about that. Some dope poets out there. Matter of fact, season 3, we had one of our poets out there in Nigeria. We're actually launching, man, I'm excited about this. We're launching Poet Life Nigeria. Yeah.
Oh man, taking this thing international. That's what's up.
Listen, you know, and then there's Poet Life University, where we do what we're doing right now, and that is teaching poets how to become better and professional poets, where we hire poets like the likes of Black Chakra. Brandon Leak will be a teacher. Well, we call them Poet Life professors. And so you'll learn from them in 8-week classes, right? Once a week for 8 weeks for like almost 2 hours of face-to-face tutelage on Zoom. And there won't be a question of how to do it. Because by the time you finish the class, let's just take a class of podcasting for poets. By the time you finish the class, you'll already have your podcast ready to launch.
Man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's
man. So do more with your poetry. Do more with your poetry, because you're more than someone who just writes poems. It's the Poet Life podcast. Man, I'm so excited to be back. This is 9/9/2021, and we're going to release this tonight. I'm going to edit this tonight. And we're going to release it tonight. And I'm excited for folks to listen to it, watch it, and share it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's Poet Life TV. Subscribe to anywhere you listen to podcasts. And connect with us, man. We got a lot going on. DM us like Justin did. You know, if you got something going on, if you're taking your work to the next level, if you have something to share as far as something to teach, if you will, DM us. You may be the next guest on the Poet Life podcast, man. So listen.
Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot,
man. You listen. You only miss the ones that you don't shoot. You know what I'm saying? So listen, it's the Poet Life podcast. Go to thepoetlife.com. If you want some dope gear, go to poetlifegear.com. Where can they find that shirt, sir?
So you can find the shirt, IamJustinPatton.com. We got books and t-shirts. And that's where you can find all the events and everything else we got going on.
Dope. Notice, and I'll say this before we close, notice both of us, one, speak passionately about the industry that we're in and the art that we produce. Notice that we both have paraphernalia being worn. We both have our own t-shirts. Notice behind us, we have more paraphernalia. He has the picture of it. That's your book, right?
Yeah, that's the first book.
I got a flag that says Poet Life. Notice my Instagram, my social media handle. Notice his social media handle. It's the same as our website domains.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to find us. Make it, if you want to be booked, if you want to be known, all of this, make it easy for people to find you. Don't have different handles. Instagram is this, Facebook is this, Twitter is that. And where are you?
It's just those little things, man. Like those little things. If we can just tweak those, man, that's going to take the whole poetry industry to the next level.
Listen, me and Justin could talk about this all night, all day, brother. You know what I mean? And that's what you got to exude. That's what people have to feel from you. Matter of fact, who knows you're a poet? You're probably at work. People don't know that you're a poet. You're probably at church. People don't know that you're a poet. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. If you say that you want to do more, listen, it's the Poet Life Podcast, man. I appreciate you all. Keep checking us out. This is season 4, episode 1. I can't wait to get to 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's Justin Patton. We're out.
Christoph, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Peace.
Find a way, find a way.